Today we're going to be talking about the massive skill shortage in the construction industry and why it's not that hard to fix. The industry is crying out for hard-working people who can read, show up on time and give a about doing the job properly. Instead of teaching people, we're recycling the same tired hires over and over again. Many of them can't use digital tools, can't find or read a drawing and still end up in charge. Meanwhile, the younger generation think that construction is this mysterious, impossible world, but it's not. It's common sense, it's learnable, and it pays well. The problem isn't a lack of talent, it's a lack of training, mentorship, and belief. Construction isn't dying. We're just not giving the right people an opportunity or a chance to step up. Here's what we're going to talk about. And if you work in construction or you're thinking about it, you need to hear this. What does a skill shortage actually mean? Who's getting promoted and why? Why construction is one of the best industries in the world, hands down. We're going to be talking about artificial intelligence, AI, and why it's no way near close to replacing real people on site. And most importantly, how we can fix the shortage fast by changing how we train, hire, and think. This isn't just me ranting, this is a plan. What is a skills shortage in the construction industry? A skills shortage means that there aren't enough people with the right knowledge, training, or experience to meet the demand for jobs and to build the homes and infrastructure at the rate the UK needs them. In construction, this shows up as delays on site due to not enough qualified trades, companies fighting over the same workers and subcontractors, quality suffering because underskilled people are rushed into roles and are scared to look silly and ask questions when they are expected to know the answers. Banter's only fun when it doesn't cut deep. And let's be real, sites are full of it. But when you're new and you're trying to find your feet, the last thing you want is to be able to give someone some ammo that they can use against you. People love to say that we're raising a generation of snowflakes. No, we are raising a generation of people strong enough to speak up when something hurts. I was always too busy to banter. I could laugh it off when I was on the receiving end, but anytime I tried to give it back, it felt mean. It didn't sit right with me. Anyone learning a new skill on a construction site will be teased. You either have to learn to develop a thick skin or stand your ground until it stops. Safety risks are rising due to lack of proper training or understanding. We're obsessed with building fast, thinking it saves money. But rushing leads to mistakes, poor quality and rework, tripling the costs at the end when buildings can't get signed off, as there's no digital proof that it was done correctly. And here's the truth, fixing things later always costs more than doing it right the first time. If we slowed down just enough to focus on quality, better training, give people a chance, we'd save time, money and reputation in the long run. But here's the problem. We've made construction seem like it's some elite club where only the toughest survive, when actually it's full of opportunities. It's not too hard. It just needs to be explained, taught and promoted better. Most roles can be learned, and the ability to read, turn up on time and care about doing a job, they're the things you can't teach someone. It's the attitude that you can't teach. The construction industry is literally screaming out for hard-working people who are willing to learn. This is such a big issue in the industry that some major companies are now letting people get on site, gain the real experience whilst working on a job and supporting them to qualify. It can take up to 3 years for someone to qualify, but by the end of it, they're properly trained and these companies have what they really want. Someone who is truly competent and actually aligns with the Building Safety Act. Let's talk about promotions in construction, because it's not always the best person for the job getting moved up. Sometimes it's just inherited. I've worked with project managers who are fast-tracked into position because their dad owned a large building company. They'd been on site for 5 minutes and suddenly they were running huge jobs, managing several inexperienced site managers like themselves. I've seen RC frames signed off that were bumpier than my dodgy garden turf, windows 25mm too small, and no one batted an eye. They just created the variation to have them all cut back to the right size before the windows were fitted. Why? Because this project manager's name carried more weight than their knowledge. And here's the thing, reinforced concrete frame checking isn't rocket science. Once someone shows you how, it's actually pretty simple. I picked it up straight away. Drawing and rebar schedule. It looks complicated. It wasn't. It isn't. Let me tell you about another project manager that I work with. He'd started out as a labourer on this site 2 years before I got there. He was from Turkey. He struggled with written English and he could barely use a computer. But he was promoted all the way to project manager, leading a team of inexperienced site managers again. And I've got to ask, what actually qualified him? Was it because he was safe? Was it because he was one of the lads? Or was it because he fit in? Because from what I saw, his main skill was micromanaging me. He'd publicly put me down for building to the drawings, even though no one else in the job was. He wanted me to shut up, do what I was told and fit in. But my black and white honesty will never allow me to do that. And I've never been very good at doing what I'm told. He didn't support, he didn't lead, he controlled. This is the kind of leadership that gets rewarded. It's frustrating, but it's also proof that in construction, promotions aren't always about skill or experience. Sometimes they're about being easy to manage and who fits in the best. On this same site, there was a time where I disagreed with the construction director during a planning meeting. He wanted 2 timber frame buildings built a couple of months apart, same spec, same setup, right next to each other, literally mirror image. But I suggested that we build them together. It would save time, money, effort. 1 crane instead of 2, 1 setup, smarter logistics, more plots in the dry, all at once, ready to complete and sell. You think my idea would be welcomed. But all I got was silence and death stares, like I'd just broken someone's spoken rule. And apparently I was just supposed to nod along and go, yes boss, but that's not me. I care about doing the job properly. I care about forward thinking and planning ahead and trying to plan every type of eventuality. I put every single build stage onto a program when I'm building to make sure that I have planned for everything and I have an accurate build program. I care about building faster, but I also care equally about quality. Having a program where you've put every single build stage in and allowed for a hold point every now and then to make sure that you have time to snag the quality or snag the trades and then give the trades time to actually go back and do the snags is very, very important. Another site I worked with a plumber who was recently promoted to an assistant site manager, same as me. We were working late one night and you could see that he was really, really struggling with his Excel program. So I offered to help. No judgment, no ego, just genuine support. But they didn't want it. They wouldn't accept 5 minutes of help from me. Were they too proud? Why didn't they want help from me? Maybe it was because everyone was being measured against me at the time and they just couldn't handle it. Meanwhile, I was doing everything. Reading drawings, managing trades 100% of the time, using digital systems, weekly meetings, program drop lines. But guess what? The people getting promoted were the ones who were easier to manage, not smarter, not better, just quieter. And here's the thing. I keep seeing all those posts on LinkedIn about teamwork, but as a site manager, I never had a team. No one that had my back, no one that shared my standards. I was always on my own. No one wanted me on their team because I expected more. Funny thing is, actually, the big directors shared my standards, but the people at my level and just above me, I was a threat. All I ever wanted to do was be part of their team, but they never gave me a chance. Until my last job, I never really had a team. That company really taught me what teamwork was meant to be. We needed each other, we backed each other, we were a real team. Since being made redundant in June, I worry I might not find that again, and honestly, I miss my old colleagues. Because in most businesses before the last company, I've ended up isolated. Not because I don't care, but because I care too much. I see problems and I want to fix them. I start awkward conversations so that we can work on solutions. I share lessons learned so that we can stop making the same mistakes. I'm not doing this to try and cause problems. I'm trying to be the solution. I am the most honest person I know. I always do the right thing, even when no one's looking. And yet people don't like me for it. People don't like honesty. They prefer yes men. and I will never be one of those. But here's the thing, the industry won't get better if we stay silent, if we don't challenge things, if we don't care. I'm not trying to rock the boat. I'm trying to keep it afloat so no one falls through the cracks. I saw a post yesterday on LinkedIn which I saved, which said, to build a strong team, you must see someone else's strength as a complement to your weakness and not a threat to your position or authority. I'm never ever going to forget this saying now, and it will stay with me forever. Egos are a funny thing. Construction really is the best industry in the world, and here's why. It's global. Every single country builds. Your skills can travel. You're not stuck behind a desk. Skills are transferable worldwide. You can work abroad, work local, or possibly remotely. The UK is aiming to be carbon neutral by 2050, and the construction industry is stepping up. With all the software solutions that are now available, real progress is being made, but let's be honest, it still has a very, very long way to go. The game changer is that once the industry is fully digitalised, it unlocks a whole new world of remote roles that don't require people to be on site full time. It's nice to go into the office, but it's also nice to be at home and hear your family playing in the other rooms, to have your children come into you at the meeting and give you a cuddle. Why would you keep asking people to miss out on their babies growing up? You know, they're only little once. You don't want them to grow up and think that you weren't there. I don't want my babies to feel that. Even post-Brexit, construction has zero shortage of demand. It pays well. From entry level to director, the money is there, and you don't need a degree to earn it. It's never going away. People will always need homes, schools, hospitals, infrastructure. This work matters. And the best part, construction is full of opportunities for people with drive, not just degrees. If you can show up, learn fast, solve problems, and care about doing it right, this industry will reward you. There's a place for you here, and it's wide open. I only wanted to be a site manager when I found out my directors were earning £100,000 a year. No degree, no debt, company car, and bonuses. Looked like the dream. But here's the truth. Most people won't say out loud that sometimes the pressure really isn't worth any paycheck. I have solutions to relieve the pressure, to make this industry rewarding and happy for everyone that's in it. Poorly managed jobs, unrealistic build programs, rushed handovers. You're the one carrying the weight, because with the title comes accountability. If someone gets hurt on your site, it's on you. If there's an accident and the investigation finds you at fault, you could face unlimited fines, legal action, and even prison time. It's that serious. The stakes are high. You're not just chasing productivity, you're protecting lives. Let's be real. We've got people in the NHS saving lives with degrees and 40 grand loans. And they're sometimes not even earning a quarter of what the directors in construction are taking home. This industry pays, and it pays well. But it rewards results, not just qualifications. Most of the people earning big money in construction didn't go to university. They learned on site, they figured it out on the job. They might have even started as a labourer. There is nothing wrong with starting as a labourer and working your way up. You really do learn from the bottom up. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And the ones who do it right, they don't just manage to build, they protect the people too. But here's the problem. So many of the homes being built today are under the supervision of managers who can't use a computer confidently, and all of the drawings are now stored digitally. They struggle with construction software and don't fully understand how to build and program trades. And yet these people are in charge of your biggest investment, your home. The quality, the safety, the structure, all of it depends on leadership that knows what they're doing. But if they can't use the tools, can't read the plans, and don't understand the process, what exactly are they managing? We don't need more bodies in high vises. We need people who actually know how to build and have the skills to manage it properly. I used to work with Fieldview. That was my best friend on site. I loved it so much. And when I was sent to a different part of the UK to go and do some training with another region, I come across this young assistant site manager who was holding his tablet going, "Oh, I love Fieldview, it's amazing, best thing ever." And when I asked to see his tablet, I had a little look and there wasn't a single form or a single snag on his tablet. I was standing there with his regional director, and while this lad's attitude was really good towards the platform and positive, he wasn't using it at all. I didn't grass him up, I kept it to myself, but the truth is that it was actually on the director. He had no idea the system wasn't being used properly. With all the software that's out there now, directors, contracts managers don't even need to leave the office to check whether their staff are leaving their offices. The tech's there to help, not to hinder. It just needs to be embraced. And the only thing holding it back is the same old lazy site culture, spreading nonsense about how tech gets in the way. It doesn't. It exposes who's actually doing the work properly. Or more importantly, not doing the work. Managers hate the tech, and I believe the reason they hate the tech is because they now actually have to leave the office to tick the boxes. I mean, they can still sit at their desk and tick the boxes, because you can. But if you were to put better questions that were open questions that the site managers had to answer, and it wasn't just box ticking, then you would really know if the site managers were building properly. Here's the opportunity again, and it's massive. This industry is wide open to people who can read, or use a tablet, or a mobile phone. Show up consistently, think critically, and take real pride in their work. You don't need a degree. You need the right mindset and a really good mentor. Because I keep seeing the same thing on LinkedIn. Everyone keeps talking about it. Any job can be taught, but attitude, positivity, showing up every day, that stuff you can't teach people. You can't train someone to care. That's a natural instinct. Some people have it and some people don't. And now with the Build Safety Act, Golden Thread being pushed into the spotlight, there's never been a better time to learn construction properly. The digital tools are there, the guidance is there, but the truth, Golden Thread is still only being adopted on a handful of jobs, the high risk ones. That needs to change because we've got the systems, we just need the right people to use them. And that's where the opportunity is. So who's setting the best practice for the new build housing industry? Saying this is how we're doing it and it's working really well. Do you want to copy us? Everyone's in competition, and yes, that's fine. So we don't want to help our competitors, but sharing knowledge and showing that you are the best and this is what the industry needs. Companies that can competently stand there and say, we're doing this really well. Please come and buy a home off us. Your home won't be riddled with rising damp in 20 years. So why AI will never replace humans in construction? I write all my own scripts for videos, and this one at the moment is currently 23 pages long. Every word starts with me, my thoughts, my experience, and then I use ChatGPT to make me sound slightly smarter than I am. AI helps me, but it doesn't replace me. It just helps me say what I mean without all the waffling, and I double check everything to make sure it's right because that's on me. Now let's talk about AI in construction. All I keep hearing is that AI is going to replace us all. Well, I'm not replaceable with AI, and neither are you. Yeah, bricklaying robots exist, cool, but it's just one trade out of 20 plus trades involved in building a traditionally built house. That's a brick and block home. We're talking about 100 plus build stages for a standard 2-story traditionally built home. Machines are only being used now because too few people are learning the trades. AI can't replace human judgment. It can't coordinate trades on a live site. It can't lead inspections, solve problems, or make decisions under pressure. And it clearly can't replace a site manager or supervisors. Maybe you could get a robot to sit at a desk all day and not leave the offices. I'm sure AI could replace those site managers. Construction is evolving, not dying. And here's the truth. There's massive opportunity in this industry for anyone with a hard-working attitude who shows up every day. That's it. No degrees needed. Just consistency, effort, and willingness to learn. AI is not your enemy. It's your super smart assistant that costs 20 quid a month. For me, it helps with words. For you, it might help with planning, pricing, paperwork. The key is you're still in control. If you have that creative brain and you ask the right questions, it's there to guide you. Use it to do more, not to do less. This industry is always going to need real people with real skills, real leadership. That's never going to change. Use it to do more, not to do less. This industry is always going to need real people with real skills, real leadership. That's never going to change. All right, let's break it down. This is the external build sequence for a standard 2-story house. You've got 60 build stages, 12 different trades, and guess how many could be replaced by AI? 1, maybe. Yeah, bricklaying robots exist now, but that doesn't mean scaffolders are going to disappear. Who's putting up the scaffolders for the roofers? Who's doing the drainage, groundworks, electrics, mastic, fencing, and site management? AI can't run a site. It's not climbing scaffolds, it's not coordinating trades, and it's definitely not inspecting the work or signing off quality. Let's talk about bricklaying. The one trade people keep saying might get replaced. In central London, a good bricklayer makes £250 plus a day. Easy. Some days, all they do is one lift and they go home. If it's too cold, they're not working. If it's raining too hard, not working. Summer. Some of my bricklayers refused to wear their hard hats when it got hot, so they take the day off then too. Not bad, right? And the thing is, bricklaying is a dying art. Fewer people are learning it, yet the demand is still there. Robots aren't the threat, the skill shortages are. This trade, like so many others, needs more people, not fewer. AI isn't replacing you, but someone who's willing to learn a trade could. So if you're sat there thinking AI is coming for your job, not in construction, it's not. Get on site, learn the process, and earn good money doing it. Now let's talk about what happens after the roof goes on. This is the internal build sequence for a standard 2-story home. And there's 50 build stages involving 11 new trades. And how many of those trades can be replaced by AI? None. 0. Not happening. AI is not installing staircases, windows, doors or plumbing. It's not wiring your electrics, testing your SVPs, laying your flooring, snagging walls or signing off quality. You need skilled humans for that every step of the way. Now, I still believe in that old advice, get a trade and you'll always have work. 100% true. But I tweak it now. Learn a trade, become the best at it and move up. Aim for supervisor, site manager, or even a business owner, so you're not breaking your back on site when you hit 50. This industry rewards skill, consistency, attitude, and leadership. And right now, there's 0 risk of AI replacing any of these trades. So if you want work, long-term security, and a future where you call the shots, construction is the place. Let's talk solutions, because fixing the skill shortage in construction isn't actually that hard. The answer is just to start from the bottom, like I said. Hire more trainee assistant site managers and trainee document controllers. Not everyone needs experience, but they do need the right attitude. Let them learn on the job. Teach them properly. Everyone has to start somewhere. So give someone with the right attitude a start. Principal contractors worried about costs. Here's the trick. Make document control flexible. Offer part-time roles or remote first roles. Document controllers don't need to sit in the site office all day, and they can assist more than one site remotely from home. And that's on the hiring manager to check that they're doing the job by checking the evidence on the software platforms, asking the document controller to ensure that they copy the site management teams in on emails or the contracts managers where required. We're trying to digitalise construction anyway, so there shouldn't be mountains of paper to control in the office for much longer. All they need to do is be available during the agreed hours to support the site team. Maybe 1 or 2 days on site, but most of the work is easily done from home. This is the perfect way for mums who've lost their careers to get back into a rewarding job. I started in document control, and that's how I became a site manager. And I was a good site manager because I knew how to use a computer, because I learned the document control from start to finish, and I started at the bottom. We need to stop shutting people out just because they didn't start in the trades. I became a site manager after I was a document controller. Smart people who can learn systems, spot errors, deserve a chance, especially career changers, parents, people outside of traditional industry path. We've got the tools, we've got the need. Let's start making room for the right people to step in. For my daughter and for any other women who struggled in this industry, I cried when I found out I was having a girl. because I know women have it harder. We have a lot more pressure on us to have a career, run a home, have the babies, go back to work, pay for everything, clean the house, do the washing. We have this pressure that we have to be super women all the time. If my little girl ever wanted to go into construction, about a year ago I would have said, nope, no way, please don't go. But now I've fallen back in love with the industry that I fell out of love with. And I would never advise her against going into construction. I would want to teach her everything that I know. But I wouldn't teach her the bad management style that I adopted to survive, the way that I had to act to fit in, the way I hardened myself to be taken seriously. I miss being a site manager every day. It was who I was, and right now with 2 babies under 3, I can't have that job. It's just not possible. But if I did ever get an opportunity to go back to be a site manager, I would be calmer. I'm a lot stronger now, and I wouldn't let anyone question what I know because I know my stuff. I wouldn't let anyone make me feel like I wasn't meant to be there and that I didn't know what I was talking about. I'd lead my way, and I'd make sure other women, other mums, don't have to go through what I went through to be seen and respected. I love construction, and I'm not going anywhere. I used to share this tree analogy on screen now all the time at my last company, originally to explain why software wasn't working on site, but honestly it applies to everything in construction. Let's break it down. At the roots of this tree, you've got your subcontractors and operatives, the people actually building the homes brick by brick, pipe by pipe. Above that, you've got the principal contractors, then building control and the safety regulators. And finally, at the top of the tree are the new build home buyers. But here's the truth. If you don't look after the roots of the whole tree suffers. In construction and in life, if you look after your team, you train your people, you respect their expertise, and you lead with integrity, that's how you manage well, that's how you build better, and you actually enjoy the job. Too many companies are focused on the top of the tree, the buyers, the handovers, the KPIs, and they forget about the people actually doing the work. If you support the site teams, everything else grows stronger. Quality improves, software adaptation gets easier, safety increases, and you get better outcomes across the board. It's not about hierarchy. It's about respecting the people who make the build possible. So whatever your role, whether you're managing, coordinating, or even running your own business, start with the roots and watch how much stronger the whole tree becomes. Let the experience teach. Getting experienced people to teach doesn't mean passing down bad habits. It doesn't mean saying, well, that's how we've always done it. It means going back to basics, showing how things work, letting trainees ask questions and making them feel safe and supported. Senior PMs and site managers need to step back, teach the jargon, explain the drawings, and empower the newbies. Because here's the thing, on most jobs, you could hire 2 trainees for the cost of 1 assistant. One trainee could run the externals and the other could run the internals. Then swap them over when they've done 6 months each. And you, the big site manager, can stay laser focused on safety, critical path, and trade coordination, the stuff that really matters. Just spend 1 hour a day with each trainee. Share your knowledge, let them feel part of the team, protect them from the toxic trades and bad attitudes. They are not a threat, they're the future. Then if you really want a good site, you need that remote document controller supporting you too. And most importantly, the experienced have to let the inexperienced teach them too, especially when it comes to computers and site software. This is how construction moves forward together. Most construction companies out there today already have the tools. Digital systems, preloaded quality forms, clear processes. Every single build has a sign-off form, and ideally the form gets completed by 3 people. The trade supervisor, then the assistant site manager or the trainee, and then finally the site manager. That way, responsibility is still with the site manager, but the pressure is shared. Train your trainee properly, and guess what? They help carry the load. But you can't just throw a tablet in someone and expect them to get it. You have to teach them, then let them prove themselves. Most of these forms on the software are just pass, fail, and not applicable. Take a photo, done. If you could use a phone and read, you could use construction software. So tech isn't the barrier. The real barrier is the lack of training and the attitude that someone new can't possibly be part of the solution, but they can be. Give someone fresh who is hungry to learn and build a career the right support, and they will work hard for you. They will never forget that you gave them that opportunity, that you believed in them. Kindness and training go a long way. That's how you build a team that actually works and actually uses the tools. Everyone wins when you get it right. Skilled people grow. Projects run smoother. More people stay in the industry, and we stop recycling the same old bad habits that aren't working. Everyone wins. But here's the thing. We've got to stop hiring people just because they fit in. That's not what this industry needs anymore. Hire people because they care, because they ask questions, because they give a damn about quality, safety, and getting it right. Hire them because they want to build it right and that they're brave enough to break the mould. That's the kind of team that moves construction forward. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, The Unfiltered Female Site Manager, so you don't miss what's coming next. Here's what's coming up on the channel. No cutting zones, joists being cut where they shouldn't. Have you got creaky floorboards in your new build? Well, this could be why. Other award-winning regions. What will I uncover when I investigate the other 7 award-winning regions in the UK? Are they breaking Part C too? Subcontractor CDM compliance. A lot of people think CDM 2015 only applies to the main contractor, but it doesn't. Every subcontractor has legal duties under CDM, from planning work safely to providing proper RAMs to making sure their operatives are competent and trained. Build stages of traditional build. I have touched on that in this video, but I wanted to go through it in more detail so anyone that's planning an extension or their own self-project need to understand the trades involved before you start works to make sure that you coordinate everyone properly. Fireproofing. If sites are not following basic Part C building regulations, can we really trust that they're following the fire safety drawings? All right, that's it for this one. I hope it's helped you see where AI fits and doesn't fit in construction and where we need real people more than ever. If you got value from this video, please do me a favour, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. This channel is all about honest construction. No fluff, no jargon, just straight talking, insight to help build smarter, lead better, and stay safe. Got questions? Drop them in the comments. I read every single one. Thanks for watching. I am the Unfiltered Female Site Manager, and I'll see you in the next video.